Good morning, everyone. Today, we're diving into what I like to call the Apple paradox, a concept crucial for any thoughtful investor. For too long, the narrative around the Magnificent Seven has been framed as a zero-sum game, a fierce battle for dominance. But I propose a different perspective, one of structural reframing. Apple, rather than a competitor, acts as the very keystone of this big tech arch. It's the primary distribution channel, a quality filter, and a demand driver for its peers. Think of it this way: when Apple's ecosystem, its walled garden, thrives, it actually creates the necessary infrastructure and user base that facilitates high-margin revenue for the other six giants. This isn't a threat, it's a rising tide lifting all boats, a foundational element in your tech portfolio strategy. Let's move beyond that limiting zero-sum narrative. Apple's unique position has evolved from merely a hardware manufacturer to, effectively, the owner of prime digital real estate. When we look at the layered stack of the modern tech economy, Apple firmly dominates the interface and access layer through iOS, Mac, and now Vision Pro. It acts as the crucial gatekeeper to the world's most valuable consumer demographic, those with high lifetime value. The remaining big tech firms, in turn, dominate the service and monetization, and infrastructure and compute layers. While headlines often focus on superficial skirmishes over privacy or fees, the underlying economic reality is a powerful symbiosis. Apple provides the discerning customers, and the others provide the essential utility and services. It's a beautifully interwoven system. This brings us to Apple's premium filter. Its hardware ecosystem does more than just sell devices, it curates a high LTV demographic. By capturing the most affluent segment of the global population, Apple creates a concentrated pool of users with significant disposable income. For giants like Meta, Google, and Amazon, accessing this specific, high-value demographic is non-negotiable. This is precisely why they're willing to pay what amounts to rent to access this ecosystem, whether through the App Store or by securing search defaults. Investors should see this as Apple's robust mechanism for generating sustained value, ensuring that the traffic flowing through its channels is of the highest quality, a reliable return on investment for any business built upon it. Now, let's explore what I call the hidden backend, with Apple acting as a mega client for cloud services. Consider the digital iceberg. The sleek Apple devices and iCloud are just the visible tip. Beneath the surface lies a massive infrastructure spend. Every iPhone, iPad, and Mac sold increases demand for cloud storage and compute power. Apple is, in fact, one of the world's largest consumers of third-party cloud infrastructure to power its vast services like iCloud. This means that the growth of Apple's install base directly correlates to increased enterprise revenue for companies like Amazon's AWS, Microsoft's Azure, and Google Cloud. Apple's consumer success transforms directly into B2B revenue for its so-called rivals, a remarkable synergy that underpins the entire tech ecosystem and should instill confidence in its long-term stability. Next, let's look at silicon symbiosis and the AI consumption cycle, with a focus on NVIDIA. While Apple Silicon powers the on-device inference for AI applications, the massive AI models that populate the App Store are trained on NVIDIA's powerful infrastructure. This is a critical partnership. Apple provides the monumental user base required to monetize these AI applications, effectively justifying the enormous capital expenditure companies make on NVIDIA's chips. Without the iPhone and other Apple devices acting as the endpoint for mass-market AI consumption, the return on investment for all that advanced training infrastructure would significantly diminish. It's a clear example of how specialized components of the tech economy enable and reinforce each other's growth, creating a robust, interconnected value chain. Consider Alphabet's multi-billion-dollar lease with Apple. Google pays Apple billions annually to remain the default search engine on iOS. While often framed as a cost, I urge you to view this as leasing prime digital real estate. The high intent and conversion rates of iOS users drive a disproportionate amount of Google's mobile search ad revenue. Apple's hardware effectively acts as the physical terminal for Google's digital advertising monopoly. This isn't just an expense, it's a strategic investment by Google to capture and monetize a highly engaged, high-value user segment. For investors, it highlights the immense power of Apple's gateway and the enduring value of its user base to the broader digital economy. Now, for Meta, we observe an interesting dynamic, the friction and flow paradox. While Meta has faced challenges from Apple's privacy changes, like app tracking transparency, which created friction, there's an undeniable flow of engagement driven by Apple's platform. Meta fundamentally relies on the time users spend on their devices and camera usage activities that are predominantly facilitated by Apple hardware. Despite the occasional tensions, the vast reach and consistent engagement of the Apple user base remain critical for Meta's core business of ad impressions. It's a nuanced relationship where the underlying reliance on Apple's ecosystem for consumer access persists, underscoring the deep interdependence within this tech organism. Apple also serves as a crucial interface for commerce and productivity for giants like Amazon and Microsoft. Apple significantly reduces the friction for transactions and creation. For Amazon, the iOS App Store provides a secure, streamlined portal for high-frequency mobile commerce, making purchasing simple and intuitive. For Microsoft, the ubiquity of the iPad and Mac within creative and executive tiers ensures that Office 365 and Teams remain essential across all hardware platforms. This prevents a Windows-only silo that would limit their growth. Apple's platform ensures that these productivity and commerce tools are accessible and indispensable, reinforcing their market leadership and ensuring their longevity across diverse user environments. Let's turn to Tesla, where we see a fascinating lifestyle mirror, reflecting Apple's premium ecosystem. There's a significant demographic overlap between Apple ecosystem users and Tesla owners. Both groups tend to be high-income, design-conscious, and early adopters of proprietary technology. This shared, early adopter core values innovation, premium experience, and robust ecosystems. For investors, this overlap signifies a potent market segment that appreciates quality and forward-thinking technology. It suggests that companies like Tesla benefit from the trends and preferences cultivated within the Apple sphere, underscoring a broader alignment in market appeal and consumer base. When we view the Magnificent Seven, not as separate entities, but as a single, cohesive economic organism, the capital flows become remarkably clear. Apple captures the user and the initial hardware spend. This user activity then generates downstream revenue for search through Alphabet, social media impressions for Meta, commerce and cloud services for Amazon, software and cloud for Microsoft, and compute demand for NVIDIA. Apple truly is the top of the funnel for this entire big tech economy. Its ecosystem provides the stable foundation and the robust demand that fuels the success of the others. This interconnectedness is a key factor in understanding the resilience and growth potential of these investment stalwarts. However, every well-structured system has its threat vector, and for this symbiotic relationship, it's not competition among the seven, but rather regulatory de-integration. Measures from bodies like the DOJ or the EU's Digital Markets Act, which aim to force Apple to open its ecosystem, pose a significant risk. Such interventions threaten to degrade the quality of Apple's premium filter. If the friction to enter the ecosystem drops, the high LTV concentration of users could dilute. This, in turn, could lower the value of the traffic Apple sends to Google, Amazon, and Meta. For prudent investors, understanding this regulatory risk is crucial, as it could impact the long-term profitability and stability of this carefully balanced tech ecosystem. In conclusion, the Magnificent Seven should not be viewed as seven separate silos, but rather as a modular stack of the modern economy with an interconnected destiny. Apple's role is foundational. It effectively builds the stage upon which the others perform. A wise bet on the durability of Apple's ecosystem is implicitly a bet on the continued, efficient distribution of Google Search, Amazon Cloud, and Meta Ads. These companies rise and fall together. For long-term investors, recognizing this deep interdependence is key to understanding the enduring value and collective strength of these tech giants. It's about seeing the forest, not just the trees, in your investment strategy.